All right. Hey guys, we are live in the Maximum Lawyer Guild with another week of maximum storytelling. Anneke Godlewski here with Josh Nagel, video extraordinaire. And we are talking attorney bio videos, why you need them, why they're important, how to do it, what to talk about. I know that a lot of you guys have firms where the main attorney is pulled in a million different directions, and you try to delegate a lot of the work to the associates. You try to get the associates involved. A lot of times associates have to, cover hearings or cover depositions and get involved with cases. So if you're going to depend on your associate attorneys to also pitch in and help with the firm face to face with the clients and not just on the back end doing work that the client never knows about, it is super important that you have some sort of bio video that talks about this attorney and why they're there and what makes them one of the best options in your firm. And Josh, you've done a ton of these bio videos.
Absolutely. And I think one of the first things that, especially if it's a new attorney that's just joining your team for the first time, before you put their name on the door, before you, do all this stuff as far as like branding them to your firm, introducing them to your clients and using a video like this is a great way to help your future clients understand who they're going to be working with. It is super important to have a bio photo on the website with a little description of who they are, where they went to school, where they're from. But a video, you can get so much more in depth. People can hear you talk. They can see the way that you interact with, other people. And I think that's super important when you're dealing with attorneys, is kind of giving that humanize them. And it's, sometimes this may be kind of a scary avenue for some people that never have done it before, but, hearing them talk and seeing them on camera might make it a lot easier for somebody to approach you.
I think too that some firms, they put so much emphasis on the owner of the firm, right? Which is great. But then what message does that send about your firm, that you only care about the associate attorney? Well, if you only care about, that you only care about the main attorney, like the owner, the guys whose name is on the door. Okay, well, that's great. But if you're also trying to create this like community in your firm and this community within your client base, then you should also talk about like the other family members in your firm, right? The other people who are jumping on board. So you taking the time to make a video about your associate attorneys also sends the message that you care about these guys, you trust them with your prized clients, and they really can do a great job, and they will do a great job because you're the one who handpicked them for your firm. It just creates like more trust, and it shows the clients that they're going to do a great job handling the case.
Right. And obviously, if you trust them, then your client's going to trust them. So if you can show that, hey, we're all in this together, this is a team environment. I don't do this by myself. When I go out and film stuff, it's not just me. A lot of times I bring somebody that's running audio, somebody that's got to, running the other camera, editors, animators. So everybody kind of works together to make the end product what it is, So I think being transparent and kind of showing that up front, using these bio videos, but also incorporating some group shots of all the attorneys. You're all working together. And a lot of people don't understand like what goes on behind closed doors. How does a law firm operate? Is it just somebody sitting at their desk signing papers, people on the phone? Sometimes. But if you can show everyone around a conference table, discussing a case or going through a file or, anything like that, walking, we did some stuff outside the courthouse where everyone was kind of coming out like there was a break or something and everyone's coming out.
Like an amazing team of people behind you. Like all this effort is going into your case.
Yeah, for sure. And it gives the associate attorney also an opportunity to share their story, where they came from, why they decided to be an attorney. I think that's a really important thing too, because, there's a lot of attorneys out there, and that your story is kind of what separates you from everybody else. So if you had a certain situation or something that happened in your life that you can share on camera that maybe jump shot you into the career that you're in, And this potential client sees that. It's like, wow, his grandma was in a car accident and she almost lost her life, and he watched her battle through this, and all, that's what ultimately made him an attorney. They're going to say, wow, I'm going through that right now. They know how, they know what it feels like. They know the pitfalls of dealing with the insurance agent. This is, this is amazing. I feel more comfortable already just knowing that. So I think sharing your story and finding a way to connect to your client, this is a great way to do that.
And when you mentioned, your whole team of people in your video company, you expect the best of the best. Like, you want to give your clients the best of the best. So you're going to choose the best of the best to work for you. And part of that is making sure that your employees are in it for the right reasons and are on board with the mission of your company that is produce great work and evoke a lot of, trust and feelings. So if the attorney is talking about, the associate attorney is talking about their feelings and how, they feel when they help others, and it's only going to make that owner's choice that much stronger. Like, they're gonna say, well, no wonder Josh hired that person, right? Because clearly he's an awesome addition to the firm. No wonder that attorney Joe hired these associates, because you can clearly tell that they care. And talking about the most memorable feeling that an associate has had over the career can kind of evoke that emotion. Some examples, like maybe they were, they felt angry when they saw that a client was taken advantage of, or they just were inspired by what the client overcame, or they were proud about being part of the solution. I know it sounds like really simple little things to talk about, but on camera, when you're talking about your feelings, it really will resonate with the viewers, even though to us it doesn't. Like, okay, really, you're going to talk about how angry you were helping a client? I'm angry every day at the insurance company for doing what they do. The client doesn't get to experience that every day, though, and nor do the potential clients that are watching your video. They're like, oh my gosh, like you said, Josh, they feel exactly how I feel, then I'm going to trust them to handle my case.
Right. I think we all get this like preconceived notion that all attorneys are, the same, and everyone has kind of the same feeling. But when you hear these stories, people like to feel emotion, right? They like to, we love stories. We love to listen to stories and feel sad and happy. And sharing your story allows someone to feel a certain way. And that's also going to in turn, hopefully bring more business in, because they're going to feel this connection to you. Like, they can, trust you. They can share things with you and be, like, this is definitely our attorney, because we already feel like we're family, and we got that a lot. Everyone always said, it just feels like family, and it's like, it's not just one person. It's when you come in the door, everyone's smiling, from the receptionist to, the intake person, to the paralegal, to the attorney. Everybody made us feel like family, and so this is kind of playing along that whole thing, is like, we want to share our process of how we do things, but also, what makes us different. And that is our story, in the way that we connect to people.
And how that associate wants the client to feel when working with them, right? They want the client to feel like they have a team behind them, that they're heard, that they're empowered, that, they're relieved that they don't have to deal with the stress of handling all this stuff on their own. And it can be so overwhelming, but just hearing that validation in the video can work wonders.
Yeah, you don't want to be, you're a bio video. You don't want it to be, hey, I'm an attorney and I
went to this law school.
All the money that you're going to get by hiring me.
Everybody does that.
Same thing, right? So what separates it again is your story and how you're going to connect to your clients. So just thinking about maybe just making a list of, hey, here's 5 reasons why I became an attorney. And then bounce those off with other people in the office or some of the other attorneys and say, wow, this one right here is really unique. I don't think there's a lot of people that have that experience, or that's a way that, we could use to potentially, connect with a client. And so I think each attorney in your office probably has a different skill set, right? Depending on the case, if somebody, you need somebody that is really good at, whatever, a specific, avenue, you're going to send them in, right?
Mhm.
You got your closer in baseball who, you save for the end of the game, you send them out. It's the same thing with this. You've got somebody who has dealt with a dog bite before, and maybe their son or daughter or family member was injured by a dog, and they know
How
firsthand.
scared the kid is, and like they don't want to look in the mirror, and they know all those little intricate things that just any old attorney wouldn't necessarily be able to connect with a client on.
Absolutely, and that it goes to every single practice area, and not just attorneys, just across the board. As us as people, we all connect with somebody who has shared a similar, went through trauma or something like that.
And isn't
Um,
afraid to be vulnerable and talk about it.
right? Because the emotion thing again, people want to feel a certain way, and if they can feel like you're being genuine, I think that's the most important thing with these videos, is not feel like it's scripted or that you're
Force.
saying this because you have to. It has to be something that is from the heart and is meaningful, because that's what's going to kind of come across well on camera.
And I think too, some of the, especially the younger, newer associate attorneys, I think there's this innate fear of, okay, I don't have a ton of experience yet. I don't have all of these verdicts under my belt to brag about. I don't have 25 years of, legal expertise. So maybe they'd be a little hesitant to do a video just talking about like, oh, hey, here's I'm attorney Sally and I just joined the firm. Well, asking them these questions, asking them to talk about how they feel can kind of compensate for that quote unquote lack of experience, because it gives them something to talk about, and it also makes them very real and more trustworthy, even though they don't necessarily have the credentials, all the successes behind their name yet that people would naturally trust them for. This
Right.
can help get them over that little hurdle until they have more experience too.
Right. And all those statistics and things are fantastic. That's probably something more geared towards like a commercial and sharing with
Yes.
the voiceover. Because you're not going to say, I've been doing this for 25 years and I've got my
Right.
client. No one wants to hear you talk about yourself. If clients are doing it, great. But no one wants to hear you talk about yourself, because anybody can do that. Anybody can pad the stats. So I think just being authentic, genuine, caring, and try to make it about the client. Again, even though you're talking about yourself, it's still about the client.
Okay, so you were talking about walking in the court, like walking in front of the courthouse, sitting around the conference room table, those things. It's called B-roll, right?
Ye roll.
Okay, so why does watching somebody walk in slow motion down courtroom steps make you feel so like empowered by, or watching them turn the page in a book that they're looking at over, the logbook, and their head is kind of halfway down and they're just turning the pages and writing all of their thoughts? Why does that evoke so much emotion? Like, how does that even happen? Like,
I think part
why
of
do you
it
use that?
is tied to what they're saying. So B roll is a supplement for the A roll, and A roll is like all the dialogue, interview footage that you lay down to create a storyline, right? So when you're putting together one of these videos, that's the main B for the video, is that dialogue and the story that you're telling. B roll is supplemental footage that goes along with the dialogue to better explain and show what you're talking about.
And there's no sound to
Right. There's
B-roll.
no. Sometimes there is, but most of the times it's just we like to slow it down and make it really kind of dramatic looking, and but like you said, you feel like it's like, wow, this is legit, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like coming down the steps, and again, it makes it real. People see that, hey, that's my court. This is our
I drive
courthouse.
by
This
that
is my
every time
town.
I have to
Yeah,
go
exactly.
downtown.
Wow, this is local. They so first they're thinking this is local, and they're seeing that this is local, and then they're seeing you, and then the rest of this team, and it kind of all playing together while you're listening to this story of why you became an attorney. And then now you see this person as the attorney, and it's just so powerful, just because it's all packaged together, right? That's what makes a great video. And you've got this music that's just sweeping and really driving it all home. But planning these shots and figuring out where you're going to shoot them, this is obviously something that you can't do yourself. It's not very easy to get B-roll of yourself unless you set up a camera and it's just a, you know, static shot of you. You know, it's, I guess it's possible, but it's going to be a lot more impactful if somebody else is grabbing some shots of you. And it doesn't have to be, you know, super extreme professional, you know, cinema footage, which helps. But it's something that can be captured by anybody. Like we talked about the gimbals and the, you know, things you can get to shoot great quality footage. It's just finding places and then the right time of day to shoot them, you know, for
The
optimal.
golden hour.
Yeah, golden hour, buildings with lots of windows, natural light coming in, stuff that just looks very visually appealing. Or outside, you know, outside of a courthouse, there's usually a lot of greenery, trees, garden stuff.
Park
So,
benches, you're sitting at, or benches, you're sitting on the bench with the client, you're laughing with the client, you're shaking their hand, just
yeah,
showing
and if you're
them
doing
as a human being.
exactly, and if you're doing footage with a client, try to capture all phases of what this, you know, relationship would look like. So try to portray this client coming in for their initial meeting, and you know they're kind of confused and concerned, and you know, so you're showing the client, but you're also showing the interaction of the attorney, explaining things and making the client, you know, by the end they're like, okay, you know, I understand. um, and then shoot something else, maybe a different client. You can use the same client that's, you know, your kind of mid case. Maybe this is the walk and talk thing where you guys are, you know, walking to the courthouse or coming from the courthouse or something like that. Showing that you're explaining the process or maybe something that had happened, but you're getting some more dynamic footage. You're switching up the location a little bit. But again, showing faces, emotions, and then showing something towards like the end of the case where they're settling, the client is so happy and they're thanking you, and this is, you know, they couldn't have done it without you. And like just showing those clips kind of tells a story in its own. But when you pair that B-roll with that powerful story that you're telling, you know, underneath of how you want to make your clients feel, you know, empowered and, you know, fighting against these big insurance companies like the David versus Goliath thing, and it's like, hey, we conquered them, and by the end it's like this super happy story. um, and you can use that formula for all your videos, you know, not just the bio video, you can use that for the testimonials and for the mediation videos as well. So just keep that in mind when you're shooting some of this B-roll, is to try to get as much variety as you can. I always shoot everything in threes personally when I am filming something, so I've got a nice wide shot. So if you're in the courtroom, you know, you're going up to the courthouse, I guess, you want a wide shot where you can see the entire, you know, you're establishing that venue where you're at. And then you've got more of a medium, maybe it's a close-up, chest up shot, and then more of a detail where it's like, you know, close up on writing, or you know, maybe they're on the phone, or you know, anything like that. So I shoot everything in those kind of like pairs of threes. So wide, medium, close up for everything.
Um, it's so funny too when you capture B-roll, you know, what showing that emotion, like how do you don't want to say fake the emotion, right? But if you're walking down the courtroom steps and you're like, oh man, how do I evoke this emotion? Since there is no sound typically to B-roll, you can be talking about the most hilarious things that would never go in the video. I mean, don't be afraid to, since it is B-roll and you know for sure that there's not going to be any of the audio used, like don't be afraid to tell jokes or just, banter back and forth, because that really brings out natural expressions of, you know,
Yes.
feel just being funny, or, genuine laughs. And you don't have to feel like, oh, now I have to fake a laugh while I'm standing here with my client. Like so many times we'd be doing videos and be like, B-roll, you're trying to shoot B-roll and you're like, this is the most dumbest thing ever because I'm sweating underneath my suit and I can't wait to be done and it's so hot, and just, I don't know, being just your natural self on B-roll is
Making up a fake case that just came in
right.
talking about, or something that happened 5 years ago that, again, it's not going to be heard on camera. Sometimes we actually discussed actual cases. We would go in the
Right.
middle of a list or a, attorney meeting and say, hey, I'm just going to film this today. You guys carry on just like you were, act like I'm not here. And then you get these kind of like real life, like candid moments that, I found that a lot of times is really, useful too, that if people are a little bit more awkward on camera, that's hard for them to like, avoid you and thinking
Mhm.
that you're there. and concentrating on the camera, and then the fake smiles come out and all that good stuff. You actually shoot some real life stuff. Maybe you have a client that's coming in for their intake and you film it. And
Right.
so you got this like actual footage of, this going down, and you shoot it in slow motion, and then you take those best parts out, and you're going to have, you're going to have some usable stuff for sure. But again, keep in mind that you need to get a little bit of variety to be able to put together like a sequence. So that's where we go back to the wide, medium, and close.
That's a great idea. Yes, especially the client meet, or I'm sorry, not the client meetings, but the attorney meetings when they meet with the staff to go over cases. You're
Right.
totally right, because since there's no sound, you don't have to worry about disclosing any information that,
Exactly.
shouldn't be talked about or whatever.
Well, I guess also too, like if you're capturing maybe in that initial meeting with your client, like, hey, we're going to film this and, make a commercial out of it. Probably not the best time.
Right.
Definitely at the end though, when they're super happy, and, then you can get those like the hugs and the handshakes and the like, thank you, the stuff where they're like literally telling you that you did a fantastic job, and like there's nothing better that you could use in a video. That's gold right there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just like, so many different testimonial videos and attorney bio videos are running through my mind right now, where it's the attorney just like, hey, happy to help,
Yep.
and the
You just
client's
said
like
it all
so
for me.
thrilled.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't have to talk about
Right.
myself now.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Um, so we know that everybody listening, this is all of the Maximum Lawyer Guild people are listening to this live. Hopefully, we'll check Facebook to see who's on listening right now. But we also know that Max Law, anyone in Maximum Lawyer will have access to this later. We have like a special thing where for all of the guild members, we're going to put on the membership site a list of interview questions, like sample interview questions for your associate attorneys, just to kind of get everything flowing and get some ideas of what they can talk about on camera. And then also there's an exercise in the membership site about how to figure out your why. And I take you through everything from what life was like before you became an attorney, what was driving you, or were there any experiences that pushed you into the practice area that you're in. It kind of walks you through the exercise of figuring out your why and learning how to communicate it. So if you have an associate attorney that you want to get a bio video of, send them through this exercise, because that will kind of help them establish their why. Perhaps they never really thought about it in terms of communicating it to other people, right? They might have thought about it privately, but they don't know how to say it. Send them through that exercise. And then we'll also have a list of interview questions, example interview questions for you to use. And then we're also going to put up a checklist of B-roll, like great B-roll ideas, courthouses, conference room table discussions, all that different stuff too. So you guys will have access to that. And Josh had mentioned earlier, it's really hard to try to get B-roll yourself and to try to set up this whole thing. So if you want to trust it, trust an expert and really have some awesome associate bio videos and owner videos and client testimonial videos, Max Law Media will have you covered. So you don't have to worry about anything. Everything will be set up for you. We'll make it really easy for the lawyers, kind of coach the lawyers through and coach the staff through, what to say, and we can help evoke that emotion. We had one Max Law Media client. He didn't want anyone in the room at all when he was doing his videos. Like the other attorneys wanted to sit in and watch him do it. And he was so nervous. He just didn't want anyone in the room except camera and me asking the questions. And so you could just kind of tell that he was getting there, but he kept interrupting himself. And he's like, he was like kind of nervous, and finally we got there. We were able to coach him through and ask the right questions. And then finally at the end, he's tearing up and he kind of snapped back to it, right? He was kind of like in a trance, just talking about how much he loves his clients and how much it means to him to help others. And at the end, he's like, my God, what are you, Barbara Walters or something? So if you're really unsure of how to get that emotion from your clients, let us help you. We can help walk you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can package stuff together too, to where, it's not just one video. We go out and shoot maybe a half day, and we've got enough footage to, include this, the attorney B-roll in the bio video, a main why video, client testimonials, smaller promos for Instagram and Facebook, website cover videos. And so we can really cover a lot of ground and be super efficient. Obviously we know what we're doing. We kind of have a structure in place. So, if that's something that you're willing, you want to have professional quality stuff, we can definitely help you with that.
And there's every time we do any of these shoots, there's this added bonus of, I love to take photographs of people getting their videos taken, right? And all the cool shots and everywhere you are. So a bonus is a lot of these clients will end up with like 500 photos because I go a little crazy, and I'm just taking them with my cell phone or even a nice DSLR camera, that whatever. But you get all these behind the scenes photos, and you can use those photos on your social media later, so just an ad. If anybody wants it, it's available to you.
A little level up, so you see all this high-end gear and it's like, wow, they're official.
Right.
This is like commercial setup here. This is legit.
Right.
So, yeah, added value.
Your own paparazzi following you around for a few days.
Yeah, literally.
All right, guys. Well, I'm just going to check Facebook really quick to see if we have any questions. And so weird not I'm using one screen today. I don't know if you can tell that my background's different. I'm not in my normal office where I have two screens. So make sure that there aren't any questions. But if you guys have any, if you have any questions, or you want us to review your bio videos, or if you want us to even talk to your associates and kind of figure out what they should be saying, don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, you can always go to the Maximum Lawyer Guild Facebook page and ask there. If you're not a guild member, shoot us an email. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to look up here right now. I don't think that we had anyone, but let me just double check. Josh, can you see on your end? I'm not.
I don't see any.
Let's see. Sorry, the internet is so slow today.
We can also share a link to a sample video.
Oh yes, that's a great idea.
Show you something that we've done, give you some ideas too. It's always better to have a lot of examples and things that maybe you like or don't like about certain ones, and put them together for how you want yours to turn out. So
that's a great idea. Okay, we don't have any questions right now, but if you come up with questions later on, don't hesitate to reach out and ask us. We are always here for you. And if you have any ideas or requests on what you guys would like to hear us talk about when it comes to videos, please let us know, because we're always looking for great ideas. We want to hear what matters to you guys and what you really need help with. So we're happy to dedicate a whole episode to whatever you need.
Absolutely.
But, all right, until next week, we will see you guys later.
Bye, guys.